Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. So we are looking at the Ajata Satru Gargya Samvada, where the teaching of absolute Brahman as Satyasya Satyam, it is the truth of all the truths. So everything else is true from the perspective of the temporal reality, but which Satyasya Satyam is, that is absolute truth, and that goes beyond time and space, because even time and space are relative, whereas absolute is beyond even time and space, and that is the consciousness, existence and infiniteness that I am, that is Satchidananda Swarupam. So that is Satyasya Satyam, and everything else is coming from that. Now the question is only, I cannot perceive it, I cannot know it, I cannot see it, because why? It's not it, it is I am, the one who is trying to see. So the seeker himself is the sought, in essence is. So what I am searching is, I am searching for myself. So why are you searching for yourself? You are there all the time. Because I am searching for myself, because I do not realize that I am that, and I think I am only this, therefore I am searching for that. Follow now? I am only taking myself, I am the local equipment BMI, and I am looking for something which is all-pervading existence, and people call God, Ishvara, all that. So the Vedanta is what you are searching for is what you are already. First recognize that fact. Well, how can I be that? That's why Vedanta class is required. How you can be that is because you are not this. But that's how Purnamada, Purnamidam came. And Tattvamasi is you are that. All teaching is pointing in the direction. And the greatestness of the Vedanta compared to any other religion is, it crystallizes that it's not only the intelligent cause, but it is the material cause as well. And that's why Yathornanabhihi, that's just as a spider putting forth, it's coming from him, because otherwise you cannot explain the God and where did he get the material for creation and all that. So he himself became a material, and that can only explain, therefore, everything is nothing but him, at least from the God point. Therefore, what I am looking for is already there. So what I need to do is see him, what I see, in and through what I see, I have to see him. And that's what is the Vishwarupa Darshanam is. Vishwarupa Darshanam, Arjuna had is, remove the goggles of I-ness and my-ness, the ahankara and mamakara, and look at the world as it is, because as it is nothing but the God himself became many. That's why we call it he is all-pervading and he is omnipresent and so on. Those are not real words, but are the facts according to the Vedanta also. He is not up in the sky somewhere, he is right there. So how can garbage be God? How can this be God? And all these people will ask questions. But they won't ask the questions, how can this be electrons, protons, and how can that be electrons, protons? If you can accept that they are fundamentally same particles, I have no problem between garbage and food, but I have a problem with the God here. And someone asked me, why do you need a guru? Teaching is, we always process Acharya. Acharya is one through whom we can learn. So why do we need a guru? That's always a people question, right? Hindus are always, they want gurus and all that, and gurus, we have a lot of Bhagavans also in India, right? Everybody becomes a Bhagavan. Some self-declared, some others declared. For any guidance we need, for even to do PhD, we need a guide. We accept that no university will allow you to do PhD without a guide. For even fighting boxing, I need a coach. For playing tennis, I need a coach. If I need a guide for all those things, for that which is so subtle, and you need a guide, say, why do I need it? Because there are a lot of people who read J. Krishnamurti and they say we gurus and all that, and they criticize us without really understanding what really means. So what does prayer to the Lord do? And what is prayer to the Guru will do? And what does scriptures will do? All these things we know. These are questions we'll ask. We should have clear understanding what it means. My prayers to the God is fulfilled when I find a teacher who can teach me. So the prayer to the God is, Krishna, he has sent what I need. No. Not prayer for a God, give me this, give me that. That's beggary. Okay? And nobody likes to beg, nobody likes. Some people come, beg, go. If you go, God also will say, go. Every time I gave already and you're still coming with a bigger list. So, the fulfillment of my prayers to the God is finding a proper teacher who can teach me Vedanta. That's a teacher. So God's purpose, hey, I have already given you what you need. Now you don't come back to me anymore. Because this is what essentially. So tadvidhi pranipatena pariprasnena sevaya. Krishna himself says, you go to a teacher and ask whatever you want to know. So why do the teacher should teach? He doesn't have to teach. He's reveling in himself by himself in that. But he will teach because that is Acharya Runam. He has an obligation to his teacher. So, because of his obligation to the teacher, he has to teach whoever comes, because that's what his teacher did when he went like that. So, that is how the Vedanta is passed on from one to other, as a light being passed on. That's what Krishna says, I taught to this, I taught to him, and so on. And in this Upanishad also, there is a Guru Parampara also is there in the one of the Brahmanas. So the teacher duty now, God's duty is over when I find the teacher. Now through the teacher I see the Lord. Okay. Now what is the teacher's duty? Teacher is the one who directs disciple to the scripture as authority. Not himself as an authority. So, Shastrasya Guru Vakyasya Satya Buddhyavadarana Sa Shraddha. That's what Vedavaka Chodamani Shankaracharya defines. Shastrasya and Guru Vakyasya. The Guru is coming between Shastra and the disciple. Because if I go directly to the Shastras, I get totally confused. There will be more confusion than any understanding. So, Scripture itself tells you, go to Shastra, don't come to me directly, go to a teacher. Tad vijnanartam sa gurum eva abhigachet samitbani sotriyam brahmanishtam. So go to a teacher with attitude of service, because he is giving you free. He doesn't have any obligation to give. You are not going to pay him. Like then he becomes a professional, right? If you pay something and he gives, he becomes a professional. He is not a professional. Teacher is not a professional. Teacher teaches because he has an obligation to his teaching. He doesn't have to teach also. And you cannot pay him for this teaching, even if you want to pay. You may pay for his comforts and all that, but that's not payment. So the teacher teaches only because of his obligation to his teacher. That's called Acharya Runam. And teacher role is over when he passed on the scriptural knowledge to the disciple. That's what, if you go to Viveka Chudamani, in the last slokas, my beta, I have taught you enough, now you can go. Don't stick around here. So student, out of outpouring love for the teacher, he pours out, you taught me this, you taught me this, you taught me this, thank you, sir. And he goes, and in the I don't know if you know, in the Taittiriya Upanishad, a brahmachari, as he is going to a teacher and prays, he prays, when I become a teacher, let lot of brahmacharis come to me to learn. And not only lot of brahmacharis, wise people who have a viveka and also shat sampatti, those kind of top-notch students only I want. That's how his request for the brahmachari and iswaha. There is a Upanishad sloka, the Taittiriya Upanishad is there, if those who want to know. So the teacher role is direct disciple to the scripture, and the scripture role is direct disciple to the truth. Satyasya Satya. Follow? So the whole thing, now what happens once I realize the truth? I realize the truth what? Everything is my own self. And in that self, there is no distinctions of any kind at the absolute level. So from that absolute level, if I want to talk about na guru na sishyaha, sivoham is it, remember? Na guru na sishyo. There is neither a teacher nor a student. I am the Shiva. Auspiciousness. There is in the Avadhuta Gita. Avadhuta Gita is by Dattatreya. And Dattatreya is supposed to be greatest Shiva Bhakta. It says, Sivam na janami katham bhajami, Sivam na janami katham bhajami. Being his greatest Shiva Bhakta, he says, Sivam na janam, I don't know Shiva. How am I going to talk about Shiva? Sivam na janami katham bhajami, how am I going to do prayer to Shiva? Why? Aham Sivaschi Paramatma Tattvam. Because I am that Shiva. So somebody say, how can I be Krishna? How can I be God? How can I be this God? That understanding that I am the totality includes, there is no more particularly Ishvara anymore. There is no Jagat anymore. There is only me expressing in everything in every form, and all other forms are depend on me. So I had to graduate with the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad teaching from triangular format to binary format. I'm using Swami Paramarthananda's technical word. So I am Jiva Jagat Ishvara is what I am right now looking. Every time I have a problem, run to the temple. Oh Lord, please save me, please save me. You know, our Lord is always smiling. You know. You think He will save it? He will give you some intelligence. He said, think properly so that you can act properly. That's all. Your mental purity is only what you need. But whatever that comes because of the prarabdha, that will come. Rama could not avoid it, right? Krishna could not avoid it. If they themselves could not avoid it, you think we can avoid things? Therefore, asking those things doesn't make any sense. But asking, so, oh Lord, I don't care what comes to me, but I know as long as you are with me, I can face any problem. That's a different attitude. Because he says, I'm already with you all the time. Now you are recognizing, thank God. Well, God doesn't say thank God. But a recognition of that gives you the strength of it itself. Now, the prayer itself will change my attitude, say, what should be my prayer now? Prayer to see myself everywhere. So from that on, understanding from the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, I should graduate to Atma and Anatma. So everything is Anatma, begins, Anatma is Nama, Rupa, Kriya. Just now we learned in yesterday, right? Everything is Nama, Rupa, Kriya, and I am the very substantive for everything. So Atma is the very support, and Anatma is superficial names and forms. And I need superficial names and forms for transactions only, but I know what is Satyasya Satyam. What is the absolute truth, and I am that absolute truth. That understanding, I have to keep it all the time. In any problems, and so all problems are temporary problems that need to be solved. People thousands of years ago, they also worried about this, and they have gone, and somebody else came, they all gone. And even if you go off thousands of years, same problems will be people complaining also. What should be our attitude? That's why if you go to Mahatma, it says, look beyond all these things. From that, you see only this is all changing things only. And that vision is essentially Satyasya Satyamiti. And everything else is only relative truth, including the life. So you can see, our cries is all, somebody died here, this fellow died here. Because you don't cry when you die, right? Somebody else will be crying. All that is, how can I die? Because I am there in the other form, I am there in this form. So every form is my form only. Only I am changing the forms. So that's how the teaching itself, the Bhagavad Gita starts itself. This we need to keep that understanding in our transactions also. There only the teaching becomes meaningful also. So we'll continue with this teaching of Ajatasatru. We'll do the, no, we are in the third corner. So that is the end of the Ajatasatru main teaching. So we'll go to the third Brahmana in this. So most of the teaching here in the form of the Vyavaharika Satyam. So Nama, Rupa, Karma, that has been discussed previously. So here is going to analyze a little bit more again in terms of the transactional realities also. And how to look through transactional reality, what is the absolute truth. So we'll chant is 231 copied by any chance? Okay, you have it, okay. Let's chant the mantra 231. Deva Brahmano Rupe Murtam Jaiva Amurtam Cha Mrutyam Cha Amrutyam Cha Siddham Cha Yaccha Satyat Cha. Okay. We'll do up to that point. So, Dveva Brahmano Rupi, the Brahman is appearing as two forms, and that's why I mentioned in that last time. There is a subtle one and the grosser one. So, it is Murtancha, Amurtancha, that which is crystallized form, that's a gross form. Amurtam is that is a very subtle form. So, I have the body that I can see, and even the brain is part of the body only. So all those things at the body level I can see. The physiological functions I can see the expressions of that. But if you go to even subtler than that is the mind, I cannot see. So there is a lot of conflicts whether the mind is there and what is the mind and so on. And we have in the external, there is a conscious mind, there is a subconscious mind, there is an unconscious mind. But we have this, we have mind and we have vasanas also. So there, murtanja, there is expressed in the gross form and unexpressed in the subtler form. So far as all the vasanas, all the samskaras are in the subtlest form. So when you go to each kosha is becoming a subtler and subtler, annamaya kosha, pranamaya kosha, and this manomaya kosha, from then on even subtler, vijnanamaya kosha, then anandamaya kosha. That's why from the kosha's point, or from the sharira point, sthula sharira and sukshma sharira and karana sharira, the sharira's point also. So that becomes a subtler, and in that it says marchancha amrutancha, that which is changeable and that which is changeless also. So here amrutam is only relative here, which is the subtle mind still stays even when the dead body dies. So according to our the 15th chapter of Gita discusses where the death is nothing but leaving the gross body and the subtle body travels around, packs up all its things. That includes all the pranapana, all the five senses, everything, all that is packaged, everything, and it moves, and the direction it goes is whatever the last thought apparently. What is the last thought? So that's why Krishna says, if you think of me in the last minute also, then you will reach me, right? So that way everybody postponed that one. All I have to do is think, why are you wasting all the time attending all these things? And so in the last minute, if I think about it, that's the end of it, I will also reach there. So he put all the names, just in case if I forget it. So his son's names is, one is Narayana, one is Hari, one is Keshava, one is Krishna, and all that, and everybody. So he put all names in case if I think of it, then I can remember immediately in the last minute. So he was in almost deathbed. Is Narayana there? He said, Appa, I am here. Is Keshava there? Appa, I am here. Here, everybody is there. All Narayana, Hari, everybody is there. I said, if everybody is there, who is taking care of the shop? With that, he left. So, just because you think the last minute you are going to think of it, it's not guaranteed. That's why Krishna Tvadiya Pada Pankaja Panjarantam Advaita me Vishada Manasaraja Hamsaha Prana Prayana Supaye Kapavata Pittai Kantavarodhan Kurto Smaranam Kutaste. This is a Kulashekar Alvar says in the Mukunda Mala. Say, how am I going to know? So, Prana Prayana Samaye Kapavata Pittai, all my things are not working, my throat is not functioning, this pain here, that pain here, that pain here. In those pains, you think I can think of you at that time? So, only way is, if I start thinking of you all the time, then I may think of you, possibility there. But before that itself, I'm only thinking of you only. So, therefore, Chintayami harimeva santatam Nanda hasisan ambujam Nanda gopatanayam paratparam Naradadi manibunda. He goes on saying, therefore, Chintayami harimeva santatam. I am going to think of you all the time, every time, anywhere. Think of him as the God when you want to think separately, or think of myself as the totality, or both are same, because I am going from Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara triad to Atma and Anatma because of the knowledge that Vedanta is giving it to me. So here there are two things are there. One is that subtle body that travels and it is eternally present as long as I am a notion that I am a Jiva. But once I have the knowledge that I am not this, the purpose of the subtle bodies also is not there. So when the BMI drops out, there is no more reason for me to be born again. So what happens to me? Yajnavalkya is going to tell us later what happens to you. So we'll postpone that now. So let's do the mantra 236. Tasya haitasya purushasya rupam yatha maharajanam vasaha yatha pandvavikam yathendra gopaha yatha agni archaha yatha pundarikam tata sakrudvidyutteva hava asya srirbhavati ya evam veda athata adeshaha neti neti nahahyota asmaditi netyanyat param asti atha namadeyam satyasya satyamiti pranavai satyam teshamesha satyam. Okay. So here we are getting another instructions from the Brihadaranyaka. Neti neti vakyam. This is where it comes. So why iti iti? Because I can only see iti iti. How iti iti is seeing? Because he is explaining here. Tasya haitasya purushaswarupam. So this he etasya, tasya he haitasya means he etasya tasya ha etasya purushasya swarupam. This is the swarupam of the Purusha. Purusha means the being, the pure existence is as follows. So here there are two ways of looking these statements here. In the before, just now he said there are grosser things and subtler things, right? One is the manifested, another unmanifested. So looking from that point, continuing that, is going to tell us now, yatha maharajanam vasaha. So this just like the cloth with coated with the turmeric. So at that time they used to immerse in the turmeric water because they wanted to look clothes, and then that's how they used to do the vivaham and all those things. Rituals are all done with the sacred cloth. And just as when I dip the cloth in that and I am getting the yellow colored cloth, right? Now yellow cloth is pervading the cloth. It's not different from the cloth, but it's still different from the cloth. Yellow color is yellow color and cloth is cloth. So it is the same as the blue lotus. Yesterday I was giving an example of Visheshana Vishesha. So this is the subtler. Whenever I dip myself into something, I am going to pick up that samskara of that. I don't know what is the implication here they are going to tell us. Whenever I dip the cloth and the samskara of the turmeric powder is coming there, right? Yellow. Whenever I perform an action with some attitude, I am going to pick up that samskara of that. That's called vasanas. That's a subtler thing. So there is a tangible effect, there is an intangible. So in every action and every transaction that I do with the notion that I am a transactor, the kartrutva bhavam is there, the notion that I am a doer is there, then the result belongs to me. Not only the tangible result, but the impression of whether I like the result or I don't like the result, or raga and dvesha related to the result. If it is conducive to my vasanas, then I like it. If I am not conducive, then I don't like it. Then I don't, if it is like it, I want to repeat it. No, just like morning hot cup of Madras coffee. Same thing, if you like it, next day you want it, third day you want it, fourth day you can't live without it. So that has become a samskara vasanas. That's what he is explaining here. And he is giving you different examples to illustrate the same point. So yatha maha rajanam vasaha, just like a cloth dyed in the turmeric. Yatha pandvovikam, pandvovikam is a pandu is white. Pandvovikam is a white sheep, a grey sheep, or its product, the wool we are talking about. Means it's much more deeper. It's not like a turmeric, it's a temporary. Turmeric oil is temporary. If you keep washing it, the yellow will go away, right, quickly. Whereas this is a much more stronger color. Yatha indragopaha, indragopa is some insect, it seems. It's an insect like indragopa. It's a little colorful maybe. Yatha agnirchaha, just like the Agni's tongues, fire tongues that are coming, different colors are coming out. You know, in the chemistry, I don't know if you know how many people, there is a flame test. So they test the color of the flame depends upon what you put in there. From the color of the flame, you can deduct what is the material there. So the vasanas get transferred to the fire, and the fire color also changes depending upon the vasanas. That's what indication here is. So they were doing the flame test before. Tara pundarikam. Pundarikam is the lotus. Lotus having a blue lotus. We told about blue lotus color. This is a viseshna. Viseshyas are combined together. So according to our epistemology, the two are not cannot be separated. So the Ramanuja makes use of this statement in his analysis. So the Viseshna Visesha inseparable, just as the blue lotus, as long as the blue lotus, blueless is part of the lotus. Blueless cannot be separated out without a support for it, right? It has to be, something has to be blue to say it is blue. And some locus has to be there. That means there has to be a locus for the attributes, and the attributes belong to the locus object. And in the Tarka Shastra, there is a lot of analysis of this. Because what is the relation between an attribute and an object? Is the question. And all our philosophers analyze those things are also. And the Nyaya is, our magicians. They're called Nyaya Vaiseshikas. There are two branches who are based on logic as the main. Scripture is the secondary for them. Logic is the main thing. And those who want to know, there is Annam Bhatta, there is a primary logic book also. Those who want to very, very, very precisely defined. And that is Gautama developed that Nyaya. And Kanda developed Vaiseshika. They are mixing these two, that maybe this. And these two are somewhat parallel, therefore they combine together as the Nyaya Vaiseshikas, or Tarkikas they call it. And in the 11th century, new logic developed, improvising the previous logic. That was in the 11th century. Dongi and all that. And at the time, I think in Bengal, the powerful magicians were developed also. Anyway, I don't want to get into too much of the logic. But very, very interesting, some of the things are very fascinating also. And some of the definite, because they have to define everything. And I don't know why I got logic, I got into logic. So Viseshna Visesha, what is the relation between the attribute and the object? They says there is Samavayu Sambandham. So they bring one relationship called Samavayu, and all other people are attack all these guys. What is Samavayu? All that. How is Samavayu related now? How is relationship related to the relation? All these things are called Madhyandina arguments. And there is in the Advaita Vedanta, there is a criticism of Advaita by two people. One is Advaita by the Advaitas, other is by Advaitins. And in the Visishtadvaita, they call Vedanta Deshika. Vedanta Deshika is one of the famous, very, very great Acharya, and he is the one from which all Vadaya Sampradaya came to picture. So my father has translated, like a commentary of his last chapter, and still trying to publish it. So volumes of, he wrote in Tamil and Telugu, in Sanskrit also. But this Vedanta Deshika wrote a book called Satadushani, 100 Abuses Against Advaita. And in the Madhu philosophy, there is Narayana Tika written, I don't remember, suddenly. He has written criticism of that Advaita Vedanta, Nyayamritam. Nyayamritam is written by the Madhva, and they use this Navya Nyaya to criticize Advaita. So actually, I was talking to one Pijam and he was asking me about this Satadushani. So this SMS study who taught me, he has written a book, Advaita, Visishtadvaita and Advaita. He has written a book, and he discusses all these. What will happen? Are you getting the? Oh, because of my dancing, it must have fallen down. It's okay. You're getting the. All right. Yeah, tell me. Otherwise, people will be listening only looking at my face. There won't be anything there in the. It's being recorded in the live stream. Those you can listen to these talks later any time. It will be there. And it's a lot of people outside the class also. All over the world may be listening. Some people, and you can listen at any time. This is the Advaita Academy is doing all that. So all my talks are available in a YouTube and all that. If you want to go, all the talks are available. That is there in the past for those who are interested. But in this Navya Nyaya, in this book called what I said about Satadushani, when you look at it, all are complicated, hair-splitting logic. But doesn't make any sense actually. If you really look at it, there's not much of arguments, all vikalpas. And the same thing, this Nyayamritam, and no one could address this Advaita book on Nyayamritam, criticism of Advaita, until Madhusudana Saraswati came. So Madhusudana Saraswati in the 16th century, he answered this, that's called Advaita Siddhi. That I'm telling correctly, yeah. Advaita Siddhi. That I was trying to read one very interesting. Madras. I'm 6 months there, right? So there is one gentleman. He's from Andhra, and he's teaching the Advaita Siddhi in Tamil. And I don't know Tamil. I know you may think that I'm living in Madras, but I don't know Tamil. I only know operation, the auto management Tamil only. And I went to him, sir, you're teaching in Tamil, I don't know Tamil, what should I do? What language do you speak? He said, Telugu. I'll teach you in Telugu, come. So he was taking me classes every day for me to do that in Advaita Siddhi. And it's very, very hair-splitting logic. It splits only hair. There's not much in if you really go into that. But what I'm going to see, Navya Nyaya is developed, and all these arguments are some of the very intricate logical arguments, but one has to be expert in that in order to analyze this clearly. But if you want to know Vedanta, you don't need all that. So you need, simple teaching will be doing. So I lost the track of it. So the Visheshana, Visheshabhyam, how are they related? So everybody has some statements of how they are related. But as far as we are concerned itself, it doesn't matter how they are related. They are still in the relation between whether the blue lotus is related, how blueness is related to the lotusness, because we are talking about nouns. So we have a problem here because there is no lotusness even to start with. That's bigger problem. As Advaita says, what are you unnecessarily wasting your time on all these things? Because you cannot define anything properly. So how do you define anything? How do you define a cow? I'm just going a little bit, just for the curiosity of the... How do you define a cow? Oh, cow is that which has... What? So they have some, there is a, what is that called? In the stomach, which cow only has and not the hearts and other thing. The one which has... Oh, whatever that is. So that which has that is a cow. And I says, no, that's only a part of it, that's just because of that. So what is a cow? Cow is that which, that's called go, right? The cow is inside. Cow is that which has cowness. That's what Nyaya says. What is cowness? Cowness is that what cow has. Oh my God, this is what circular definition, chakra. We cannot define what is a chair. We cannot define, oh, the one which has 4 legs and this one. There are many things which have 4 legs. The one which can sit on it, there are a lot of things you can sit on it. So any definitions of this is not Lakshanam that defines. Remember I told you, Swarupa Lakshanam is not there. Only thing that has Swarupa Lakshanam, intrinsic definition, is Brahman only as this intrinsic definition. But this Vishesha are being used to qualify even Lord also. That's why Ramanuja says he is Ananda Kalyana Gunashrayam. He is the Lord where all auspiciousness of infinite auspiciousness, infinite qualities of auspicious qualities with infinite each one also. That's what is the Lord is. Because every object should have attributes, and Lord is also an object of worship, and he is Narayana there, and he has these attributes. What are attributes? Infinite auspicious attributes. But his essential attribute, if you really want to know, is he is Chade Lakshmi Chapatnyo Ahoratre Parshe, right? He is husband of Lakshmi. That's his qualification. That's really a qualification. So if Lord Vishnu comes next time into your house, since you are looking for Vishnu, if you are a Vaishnavite, so sir, please show me your badge. Yeah, a lot of people, because October may be coming and everybody is coming with all sorts of trick-or-treat dresses. We don't know who is Narayana, who is the... Just because you say you are Narayana, how am I going to believe you are Narayana? He has to show the badge, and he carries it all the time. What is the badge? Lakshmi. He carries all the time. Oh, you are Lakshmi Pati. Please come in. I cannot recognize Narayana without Lakshmi. That is this statement there. Lakshmi is Ashtalakshmi. Everything is Lakshmi only. Through Lakshmi only I can reach Narayana. That's what Sri Vaishnavism is. Through Sri, I have to go to Vaishnava. Omkara, we read Omkara, right? Akaram is for waking state, Ukara for dream state, and Makara is Jiva. Whereas Vaishnava says Akara Onyuchude Vishnuhu. Akara stands for Vishnu. Ukara is Lakshmi. Ma is Jiva. Is Jiva Vachakaha. Letter Ma, Kaka Gagana, Chacha Jajanya, if you do, it comes the 25th letter. Papa Baba Ma. After Pavarga, Ma comes. Pavarga stands for all the bad things. Apavarga is beyond bad. Okay, that's also technically. You know? And Ma is the one, all these 24 things are owning by that. That's why he is a Jiva. Makaro Jiva Vachakaha. So Ma has to go to A through U only. That is called Omkara. A, U, Ma. So you have to approach the Lord Vishnu through Lakshmi only. But according to Advaita, that's true. Through Lakshmi, because that pure, the absolute nature of the reality is imperceptible, unknowable, yet through what I know, which is Lakshmi, I have to reach that state. Means through nama rupa kriya that I see, I had to see what is that substantive that is the basis for all the nama rupa kriya. That's what is through Lakshmi I am going to see the Ram. Okay, that should be understood. So here, the two ways to explain all the here. In this case, either from the Vasana's point, every action is leaving you an impression. So here, the Viseshan, the Sakrut Vidyetava Hava Asya Sri Bhavati Evam Veda. So, who knows this? But everything has an attribute, and attributes are that one who has knowledge of this, all this, both the subtler world and this grosser world, the one who has a knowledge of all the things, then he becomes the pure knower. But how do you know? How does he know? What is Atha Adesha? What is that instructions? Neti Neti. Not this, not this. By that instruction process, you have to arrive at this. And this is the highest instructions that one can, the scriptures can give you. It cannot tell you this is Brahman, because this is an object and Brahman cannot be pointed out. So how can it tells you what is that? What you see is use neti neti vakyam is essentially, and that's what his implication is. Athada adesha neti neti naha etasmaditi netyanyet param asti. So neti neti, not this, not this, and that is itself is instruction, and it claims that because there is no more better instruction than this, other than the neti neti. So how am I going to know neti neti self-realization? That's what we are doing in the meditation, remember? I am using a thought, and the thought is seen because of the consciousness. So what I had to do? Remove the thought intellectually. Remove the thought and look at it. Follow? Therefore, remove my hand intellectually and look at the light that is reflected by the hand. Look at the thought because of which I am conscious of the thought. So it's not the thought, but I am conscious of the thought. That consciousness is a hand, and that's what is the neti neti means. So I need the iti, I need the object, otherwise I cannot see. But it's not something to see, but something to understand. So it's not I have seen the Krishna, all those things, nothing. It is something to understand. For understanding, I need the mind. So one of the best examples Sureshwaracharya gives in the Naishkarmya Siddhi. So I say, I go to a pitch dark room, it's completely dark. I cannot see anything, right? So I take a torchlight to see something. So when I shed the torchlight on this object, I can see that object. Because now object is illumined by my light, right? So there is a vritti phalam and there is a phalam there. There is a result that is coming out of it when I see something. Then I saw some pot there. And pot is upside down. For that I used torchlight and I saw a pot. I was curious, what is there? So I lifted the pot and put it aside. I saw a candle burning there. Follow? Now should I need a torchlight to see the candle burning? Because candle is burning itself is the source of light. I don't need another light to see a light. It is self-revealing. Follow now? Self-revealing. So what I need to do is I had to remove the pot. That is obstructing my vision of the burning candle. Follow? I had to remove neti 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 not this, not this, not this, to see what is there underneath the iti. And what should I do beyond that? When I remove this and look, it is self-revealing, because it is the light because of which I am conscious of even my removing also. Follow the application now? So essentially, what should I do? What am I doing? I want to realize nothing to do, just keep removing the ignorance that is covering it. When I remove the ignorance, it is knowledge has to be self-revealing itself. So all our epistemological analysis is, you don't have to do anything for knowledge. It's not, knowledge is not a purusha tantram. You cannot will the knowledge. Oh, from tomorrow onwards I am going to learn. You cannot learn. You can make an attempt to study. Knowledge has to come to you. It gets revealed. That's why the Vedas are called, the Rishis are called Veda Drashtas. They are seers of the truth, because in the seat of meditation it is revealed, knowledge itself is revealed. Vishwamitra sitting in the seat of meditation, Gayatri is revealed to him. Not that he wrote Gayatri mantra. And he doesn't claim that I wrote it. It's revealed to him. Therefore, he's only Rishis are called Veda Drashtas. And all our scriptures, the knowledge is not Purusha Tantram. It's not willed by the Lord. It is Vastu Tantram, and it's Apaurushayam also, the Vedic knowledge. And here, scripture is saying, I can only take you to this level. The teaching is, I cannot show you what is Brahman, but I can show you looking at the world. In the transacting world, there are two things. One is the gross and another is a subtle. You reject both of them because both are objectifiable entities. What are the objectifiable entities? The gross body, you can easily, I am not gross. But even the subtle things, I am not the mind also. But only problem is, to reject that I am not the mind, I have to use the mind. That is where the intricate problem is. And I cannot do that with a mind that is agitated, because this is a very subtle process, because I have to look at the mind and using the mind and reject the mind, and I am not the mind. Since it's a subtle process, I need the mind very sharp, in fact very subtle also. So in the purification, there are two types of mind in that. There is Tishna Buddhi, Sukshma Buddhi. Tishna Buddhi, sharp mind. He is very sharp. Sharp mind only dissects. Right? So with a knife you can only dissect. So any sharp mind is only making you dissect into parts. This is this classification, that classification. So a scientist is going to divide things into columns of what he can analyze separately. He will try to find smaller and smaller differences to make sure that that's what he is specializing in more on, right? Whereas Sukshma Buddhi is integrating mind, synthetic mind, that synthesizes to see oneness in the divisions. That one sees the oneness that pervades the divided things. I had to look at that. So when I say neti neti, looking at every object, I had to see that which is beyond the object. That's what Krishna says, Brahmarpanam Brahma Havihi, Brahmagnyau Brahmanahutam. So Brahma Arpanam, remember this is what you can go into. Brahma Arpanam is what? Arpanam is, in that time, those things, example is when they are doing the homam, they are using the ladle for pouring ghee. So Arpanam is this ladle, is Brahman. So Brahman, Arpanam is equal to Brahman. That's the equation there. Yesterday I was talking about Tattvamasi. There is also Samanadhikaranam there. Sama means this is equal to that equation. So how can Arpanam be Brahman? Arpan is small, Brahman is infinite. Brahman, he says consciousness, this Arpanam is inert. How can I give the equation? So for that only Vedanta is required. It says, now I have to see in and through. You say, I am itself is giving everything, because the Vedanta says, I am the material cause for the whole universe. Even Atmanam is also me only in that form, if I understand that Vedantic teaching. And I am nothing but Brahman. So therefore, Atmanam is also Brahman. So I can use any instrument to recognize that. That's what Krishna is telling us. Arpanam is Brahman, the Agni is Brahman, the one who is pouring is Brahman, the Avas is Brahman, the Karta is Karman, the Kriya is Karman, the Phala is Brahman, everything is Brahman, because there cannot be anything other than Brahman. So he says, this is the greatest teaching, the highest way I can teach, because there is no other better way of teaching than this other than Neti Neti. Says, because I have to use this phenomenal world that I am in to go beyond the phenomenal world. Beyond that means dropping the superficial names and forms and see the essence behind it. That's what is beyond means. Not go somewhere else. So what should I do? If I can do it sitting in the meditation, do it. But if you also can do outside, then do that also. Wherever I can do, I can do. And that is essentially the teaching here. Na etasmat iti na iti anyat param asti. There is nothing better teaching than this. So atha namadeyam satyasya satyamiti. Hence it's called the truth of the truth. Satyasya satyam. That satyam that pervades all vyavaharika satyam. So the first satyam is called the vyavaharika satyam. Satyasya satyam, that which is behind this, that which pervades all this, and that which supports this, and that which withdraws also and goes into deep sleep state where all these things are gone. And that I am is Tesham Esha Satyam. That is the truth of the truth. That is the essential truth. And there is no other way I can teach you this. And that's the scripture itself is washing our hands to say this is what it is. It is Satyasya Satyam. Everything else is Satyam, but is this truth of the truth. Underline, this is the science of all sciences. This is the Vidya of all Vidyas. This is the eternal truth. And what is the eternal truth? I am that pure existent consciousness, infinite. That is the very substratum for everything else. Then what is everything else? Everything else is only my Vibhuti only. So I am going from Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara to essentially Atma, Anatma Vichara. What happened to Ishvara? Don't worry, Ishvara is already in you. So he is with you all the time. That's what Krishna told, right? I am there with you. Upadrashta Namantacha, Bharta Bhokta Vaishvara. I am there behind you all the time. You have to open your doors, that's all. So don't look for me elsewhere. You are looking, waste your time also. If you look for me, also look like this. Wherever you are, wherever you see, that's also me only. And that's what is the Vishwarupa is, right? Vishwarupa Darshanam. And that is the essential teaching of this Vedanta. With this, we have completed the third. I don't know what the lunch situation is. It's going to be late. Oh my God. Okay. Now we are going to the section 4, which we did last time, but we will do again. That's called Maitri Brahmanam. And those who have attended before know what the teaching is, because we did exhaustively last year, last Memorial Day camp, and the videos, audios, all those are available in YouTubes, and everything else is available for those who want to hear that. So this Maitri Brahman is important from several aspects. Like know this. This is used to indicate that sannyasa is required. Yajnavalkya doesn't say that, but Shankaracharya says so. What is sannyasa? Yajnavalkya is a great sage. In fact, in the next Kanda, he is the main teacher for everybody there, including Janaka, and also in the Janaka's, this one he defeats all other rishis and all that. That's a discussion in the Muni Kanda. But so he is a knowledgeable person, he knows the Vedanta, then what else need to know? So this is a question that everybody will ask also. Okay, I have attended the camps and I know now everything is Brahman and I have understood. I have no doubts about this. Then what should I do? So Shankaracharya says, go and take sannyasa. So my wife won't allow me. Because you cannot take sannyasa without wife's permission. So what should I do? So here, I don't know whether he got wife's permission or not. Yajnavalkya goes to he has two wives. The Maitreyi and Katyayani. It says, I am leaving. I decided to take sannyas. Not that I am going to leave and then have another marriage there. No, I am leaving everything. So whatever wealth I have, I am going to divide it into two parts. One for Maitreyi, one for Katyayani. Two wives he had. So Maitreyi is a senior wife, but she was always interested in Vedanta. I said, so why are you leaving everything? Because I want to go and do something else. Why? Is that more important than this? That's what your wife will ask. I said. So somebody asked a joke, I don't know, some Swami told me. So this wife and husband are arguing all the time. And wife is always quoting, my brother is a real sannyasi and you're only talking about sannyasa. He's Vedantin, he's this and he's that and So every day he was getting lecture. So this husband said, okay, you think he is sannyasi? That's not sannyasa. So what do you know? What do you know about sannyasa? You want this, how can you be sannyasa? I'll tell you what is sannyasa. This is sannyasa. So he took a towel and walked out of the house. So, what is the moral of the story? Don't keep towel. So, this example is given in the literature, in the Vedantic literature, that external sannyasa is required for realization. Well, Shankaracharya says that with reference to this Brahmana, if you go to the commentary on the Bhagavad Gita, just now I told you, Brahmarpanam Brahmahavihi, that very sloka is about yajna, right? Brahma. That is, example is where you are doing a homam, where arpanam, the ladle is being used, and this talks about the homam that is being done and who is the one who is doing all that. And homam can only be done by a gruhastha, not by sannyasa. So that teaching is meant for gruhastha primarily. And Shankaracharya talks with the gruhastha first. So it means a gruhastha can realize, not that you have to take sannyasa. So it is not necessary that I have to take sannyasa, external sannyasa. I can take vidvat sannyasa. Vidvat sannyasa is having a knowledge. Remember in the talk, I had to give up in order to know what it is. That means intellectually I had to give up my attachments to everything. Tyage naike amrutatvamasu. Maybe this is one of the sloka people were asking me. Tyage naike amrutatvamasu. That is part of the Upanishad teaching. We do whenever Purna Kumbham, we chant that. So, sannyasa is required, but not necessarily external sannyasa. All is required is you need sannyasa. You need to give up neti has to be given in order to see what is the substratum behind it. That's what sannyasa is. Sannyasa is renouncing the wrong notions about myself and the world and the Ishvara also. Has to be given up to recognize what is my essential nature. That is a real sannyasa. So here, Yajnavalkya, when he says, I am dividing into two parts, one for you and one for the elder five catchers are saying, why are you living up everything and going somewhere? That must be better than this. Will I get the eternal happiness by using all this wealth? He says, no. Then what good is this for me? I want that where you are going for. I also want that one on. Teach me that. And a teacher is very happy if a student who wants to know and who is also qualified to know is there approaching. Swami Tapovan Maharaj, he never gave a lot of sannyasa to anybody. And he also stopped teaching, but he said, I am waiting for one student, and after that this one is not, I won't be teaching anymore. So people were wondering, who is that student? So after a few weeks, Swami Chinmayanandaji walked in there. I don't know how many people know this story. Swami Chinmayananda was given the sannyasa name by the Shivananda Maharaj. He was there in Shivananda, and after 6 months he wanted to know more and more, and Shivananda says, you want to know more, you go to Swami Tapovanji and he will teach you. So Swami Chinmayananda walked all the way to Swami Tapovan. It's about a few miles, 10, 15 miles. Went there and prostrated to him. I said, Swami Sivananda sent me, and Swami Tapovanji is waiting for him only, because I know somebody is coming and I'll be waiting for him. And when he came and prostrated, and I want to learn, he says, where is the letter? What letter? You said, Swami Sivananda sent me. Where is the letter showing that Swami Sivananda has sent? He says, I don't have letter. Go and get it if you want. So he said, wow. He walked back all the way, got a letter and went back again. Then here is the letter. All right, sit down. He didn't even look at the letter. He was testing how serious this person is in terms of learning education. Swami Chinmayananda has written all these things. So when a sincere student comes, the teacher has to teach. That's his part of the... So he's very happy to teach. So here, Yajnavalkya was so happy and he started teaching. And let's see how he started teaching. Let's do 2, 4, 5. We'll go to the essential teaching of the mantras. But those who want to know more, we have done this exhaustively in the Maitreyi Brahmanam. They are available for you. Saho vacha nava are patyuhu kamaya patihi priyo bhavati Atmanastu kamaya patihi priyo bhavati Nava are jayayai kamaya jaya priya bhavati Atmanastu kamaya jaya priya bhavati Nama are putranam kamaya putraha priya bhavati Atmanastu kamaya putraha priya bhavanti नवा अरे वित्तस्य कामाय वित्तं प्रियं भवति आत्मनस्तु कामाय वित्तं प्रियं भवति नवा अरे ब्रह्मणः कामाय ब्रह्म प्रियं भवति आत्मनस्तु कामाय ब्रह्म प्रियं भवति नवा अरे क्षत्रस्य कामाय क्षत्रं प्रियं भवति आत्मनस्तु कामाय क्षत्रं प्रिया भवति नवा अरे लोकानां कामाय लोकाः प्रियं भवति लोका प्रिया भवति आत्मनस्तु कामाय लोकाः प्रिया भवन्ति नवा अरे देवानां कामाय देवाः प्रिया भवन्ति आत्मनस्तु कामाय देवाः प्रिया भवन्ति नवा अरे भूतानां कामाय भूतानि प्रियाणि भवन्ति आत्मनस्तु कामाय भूतानि प्रियाणि भवन्ति नवा अरे सर्वस्य कामाय सर्वं प्रियं भवति आत्मनस्तु कामाय सर्वं प्रियं भवति आत्मा वा अरे द्रष्टव्यः श्रोतव्यः मंतव्यः निध्यासितव्यः मैत्रेयी आत्मनो वा अरे दर्शनेन श्रवणेन मत्या विज्ञानेन इदं सर्वं विदितम्. So here Yajnavalkya is giving so many examples to his wife. So Are is my dear, darling, honey, whatever the honey is at that time. Saha Vachai. So Yajnavalkya is saying, Nava are patyuhu kamaya patihi priyo bhavati. So my dear husband, patyu. Kamaya, for not husband's sake, husband is loved for. So Priya means you like it, you love him. It's not for husband's sake. Atmanastu kamaya patihi priyo bhavati. For your sake, for self's sake only, husband becomes, you love husband. So, oh, I love you, honey. All that. Or whatever you love is a source of happiness. Right? Otherwise, you don't love. And you consider husband gives you happiness, therefore you love husband. So, the source of happiness being husband, therefore you love husband. Therefore, I want happiness, Atmanastu, for my sake, I love husband, not for husband's sake. Because I want to be happy. In my love, if husband is happy, that's good. That's his prerogative. But I love him because I love happiness. Because that's what I'm looking for in all my pursuits. What I'm looking for is happiness. It so happened whenever he is there, I am happy. Whenever he is not there, I am not happy. Therefore, wherever he is, therefore I want him so that I can be happy. What I want is happiness. He is bringing happiness. So that's why Atmanastu kamaya patihi preyo bhavati. And he is very fair also. For wife also same thing. Navare jaya kamaya jaya preya bhavati. Same story. For nobody loves his wife for wife's sake. You will love only for your sake, because what you love is happiness, and you love her because she brings happiness. You don't have to tell this to your wife, because he is telling only because he is leaving, he can afford to tell. But you can tell, oh honey, do you love me? Yes, I love you, otherwise you won't get food next day. So better tell whatever. So Atmanastu kamaya jaya priya bhavati. Nava are putranam kamaya putra priya bhavanti. Atmanastu kamaya putra. So saying, I love my children. Say, why do you love your children? Because they bring happiness to you. I am very so happy with my children. Children, grandchildren, everybody, whatever. It's the same story. So he's giving so many examples one by one where they are not really you love. What you love is only happiness, and you assume that they are bringing happiness to you. That's the problem there. That's an assumption there, right? So we can go one by one. It says, Navare vittasya, vitta is of money, wealth. So I want wealth, I want to be millionaire, billionaire. What for? People have billions but suffering. I don't know, there's a Howard Hughes story. When we came in the students, that was a story at that time. Howard Hughes is a multi-billionaire. And when he was there, he had some disease, and he was looking at the 48th or 49th floor, and no one can approach him properly because the disease is such that they cannot. They have to do change their veshikam and all that, and come and approach and serve him. And he was in a miserable state with the billions of money there. So he didn't read this. Atmanastu vittaya. Wealth does not bring you happiness. All this that we look for, I want a bigger house, I want a better this, all that is only comforts. Don't get confused between the comforts and happiness. One can be comfortably unhappy. With all the comforts, you may not be able to sleep on the bed, even though bed is so soft and all that. Because you are restless, the mind is not ready. What is required is mind that is calm and quiet. So that comfort is much more superior than any other. And that's what he says. So everyone, vittam priyam bhavati, atmanastu kamaya vittam priyam bhavati, are brahmana, this is Brahmin here, priyam bhavati, so atmanastu kamaya brahman priyam bhavati, look at Kshatriya and all that here. Lokanam, all the lokas, you priyam bhavati, this is atmanastu kamaya lokaha priyam bhavati. So ultimately all that is said, Namare sarvasya kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. Everything that you like, I like this, all rat race, we are going after things, objects. Now think again, what is this for? If you go to Google's and look for Peace Pilgrim, I don't know how many people are familiar with it. Peace Pilgrim is an American lady in 1950s, and she walked around, traveling around. And if you look at her story, very interesting story, she is not religious at all. She is not exposed to any religion of this or Vedanta or anything. One day she decided, I don't need, why do I need this? So she started giving away whatever she thinks she doesn't need. And ultimately said, why don't need anything other than a couple of dresses, to one is changing and other is to washing. That's all I need. I don't need anything, and the shoes to carry and all, everything else I don't need it. So he gave everything else. So we think we need it, therefore we are buying things. Now question is, do we really need it? Oh, it looks good. That's a separate thing. So next time, invest your money where you really need it. It comes right now, lunch is going to come, right? Before you take it, do I need this much? That's where the first thing starts. Because we are the only ones, human beings are the only ones who eat more than what we need. Animals don't do it. Animals eat what they need and leave for the other guys are waiting there. The scavengers are all waiting there to eat their share. But we are the only ones who eat more than what we need. So, if I operate at this understanding level, there's a maturity. There are other people who really need and they don't have it. That compassion automatically comes of giving more than I take. Remember, that's a part of our pledge. Chinmaya Mission pledge is giving more than what we take. What does it mean? Just not repeating that. I take only what I need and give more than what I have now, more than that I can share with others. That is true not only just for food, but I'm talking about this application of the mentality has to be there in this world. Otherwise, we are like anybody else. We are only Chinmaya Mission members going there and coming back in the weekends only. Then we are not applying what Chinmaya Mission says. So that has to be has to be lived with the value system. Then only it becomes a knowledge. Otherwise, it's just a repeating of like a parrots. So here, everything I'm looking at, I want this, I want this Peel's Pilgrim I was talking about. This lady started walking and started teaching, and you should listen and hear those. They sell even the free information and free audios also. And she teaches the highest philosophy. She doesn't know the Aham Brahmasmi, may not be knowing, but at the same time, she teaches because she was a Brihadaranyaka. She was just walking around, and whoever gives a shelter, whoever offers something, she eats, and then she used to walk and teach whatever that she knows. Very interesting, very useful. So one can be Brihadaranyaka, but what is Vedanta is not just that. What in is Yajnavalkya knew what is to be known. That's why he's teaching the Maitreyi. But sannyasa is what he wants is, he wants to contemplate on that all the time, which is not possible in the environment that he is in. So therefore, what is required is this. I had to have the mind all the time in that state of understanding. That's what is called Sthita Prajna. And if leaving the house, going there and help me, that's good. So it is helpful. So Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi tells this beautifully. If sannyasa is required, was asked. He says, it is helpful but not required. Is doing daily puja is required. It's helpful but not required. What is required? Purity of the mind for me to contemplate. You can do it and mind all over, traveling all over the place. That's not helpful. If you can do it sitting there here, you are in that Atmanastu, you are doing contemplating on that. That's what the highest prayer is. So once we have understood, then we have to adapt it only. Otherwise, follow the rules until we understand the rules. So whatever daily sadhana, so someone told me, you're teaching without upasana. Says, well, upasana is meant for listening to this. If they are able to listen, then upasana has done its job. So we have to understand what's the role of all those things in the totality. Once we know Atmanastu, then only in upasana and Atma, everywhere is Atma. I can meditate even in the bathroom also. In fact, in the Sandhya Vandanam also, I am invoking the presence of the Lord in every instrument also, including the genital organs also. I am invoking the presence of the Lord, because where he is not there. But if I can see him there, or see myself as the Atma pure, then that is what essentially his implication is. My attention is on the truth, not on the names and forms. Don't get carried away with the names and forms. Therefore, Atmanastu, for the self's sake is what is it, but what is that self? And therefore, he says that has to be Drashtavyaha, Srotavyaha, Mantavyaha, Nididhyasitavyaha. Says Drashtavya means you have first clear vision. What are you trying to do? What is trying to do? This does not give me the happiness that I am looking for. There is no happiness in husband, there is no happiness in particular in any object there, because happiness is coming from my own self. In any happiness I am coming only tapping from myself. Then why should I go after? I can go after play for game, but I don't depend for my happiness on anything. Follow upon? When I depend on myself, I am happy by myself, but I can play the role because the Lord has put me, because of my prarabdha. I am still a father, or a mother, or a sister, or a daughter, or whatever the role that I have been because of my past. I need to play that role as long as I am in that role. So don't get confused with the role playing, what are the realities also. Understand the realities, I can still play the role better now. Because I have nothing to expect, therefore I can do more objectively what needs to be done in every situation also. Because I have no more emotional hang-ups there. So a wise person only can live properly. That's why he enjoys everywhere. That's why, this is some of the teachings, with the Gurudev, we, not only in the class, we were observing, because we were there all the time around them, because of the life, what he lives, what he does and everything. He used to get up at almost 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, write every letter he was responding. And we are watching what he does of that. After responding, he takes the letter, tears out that one and tears out. He doesn't carry anything with him. And when he goes next place, he hugs everybody and talks and as if people think that this Swami loves only me, or I am so close to Swamiji. But next day, next plane, he forgets everybody there. So very, I was fortunate enough to observe all this. And one case, because we are not getting signal there anyways. So I'm telling the stories of Gurudev. And I don't know how the history of how many people I might have told many times. But anyway, so I was more or less went to J. Krishnamurti's teaching and think, oh, you have to meditate, the mind has to observe the mind and all that. And I was trying to observe the mind, it went all over the place. There is no mind. At last I gave up all that stuff, and I can ask him, how do I uncondition myself? Oh, you cannot ask me, because then you will be following another conditioning, and then you are talking a golden shackle versus an iron shackle, all those. I don't know how many people are familiar with the J. Krishnamurti's teachings also. So I said, this is also nonsense, that is this one and all that. So I guess let me concentrate on my science. And there was a publish and perish, so let me publish as much as I can. That's what I was doing at that time. At last, until Swami Gurudev was giving lectures here, fortunately I left university and joined a government job, so I can easily relax. Where I can only work, I don't have to work weekends also. So Gurudev was there and giving lectures first time in American University, and we went to some Siddhartha restaurant in downtown at that time. That was the only vegetarian restaurant there, and so we could eat. And then we saw a poster there, so Gurudev is giving lectures in American University. And said, oh, my wife said, oh, he's a very good lecturer, let's go. And she said, no Swami business, enough of all the Swamis. And he says, no, this Swami Chinmaya, I know Swami, I had heard his lecture before once. But the Swami is very good, and he talks beautiful English and all that. And so I said, okay. My daughter was only about 4 years old, and we went there to listen to the lectures and all. That's the first lecture I heard on about BMI chart. But I was so impressed of it, I was ready for the morning class, Kanda Upanishad class. My wife thought I'm going to go along with Swami. She was afraid. But that's how my evolution of exposure to Swami. So I wrote a big letter criticizing this and criticizing that and all that. And Swami said, oh, come and meet me in Pittsburgh. He didn't respond to any of that. He says, come and see me in Pittsburgh. So I went there, because that happened. My wife also had a spring break or something. We went there. She was a teacher, high school teacher. So we went there, and so I was sitting in second row, because first row all reserved, right? Whenever in Yajna, they reserve the first row. For all the people who are reserved, they put, and second row, there was the first, already one fellow was sitting in the aisle seat. So I went and sat next to him. So just before Swamiji was sitting, the fellow who was sitting next to me, he thought now nobody's watching, I can go and sit in the front seat. Swamiji is going to sit in the front seat. So that fellow left and went and sat in the front seat. And Gurudev comes and sat next to me, because now the seat is vacant. He didn't go into the first seat, sat next to me. So all strange things happen. So I wrote already a letter to him, Sir Swamiji, I am Sadananda. Ha 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 ha, you are Sadananda, I am Chinmayananda. Is exactly how he reacted. My God. And said, okay, come and see me tomorrow morning. That's how and then So you want to do something, as I wrote a big letter, says this Vedanta doesn't mean we have a lot of poverty in India and education is required, all those blah, 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 I wrote. Says, oh, you want to do all that? Okay, you do that, you'll be in charge. But let's find out. So that's how a Seva organization and all that formed, and he put me in charge of therefore from then on I had to correspond with him so much. All the money was going through Seva organization. I was a treasurer and secretary and everything, all those there, doing all that operation. So I was closely observing how a Mahatma lives in terms of the daily life. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's not only the teaching, but operation at the level. How that teaching is manifesting in terms of actions wise. That is wisdom, right? That's what eternal wisdom is. And looking at that and say, see, now I know what exactly involved in terms of operational life. So, I gave so many examples how the center came and all those things and all that. I don't want to get into too many details. But that's part of it is the execution is also important, where he is to spend so much time to make sure that everyone is, whoever approaches him, he gives out everything that he has. So once some lady called me from Atlanta, I think, from Atlanta. She's in the hospital and she's almost in a critical position, and she wanted to talk to Gurudev. She called me, and says, can you ask Swamiji to call me? And Swamiji was in Hong Kong at that time, doing lectures. So I took the address, phone number, and you remember there's an itinerary where the phone number is there, contact phone number. So I called Hong Kong and got hold of the host and explained what the situation is. And says she wants to talk to Swamiji. If Swamiji can call her, talk to her, she'll be really happy. So I gave the name and the information. Swamiji called her, talked to her, encouraged her, and with that wrestling, she recovered from that, and she even attended the camp in Washington DC. That's it. But I was looking what he's going to do with it. But when I came to know all this, see, he took pains to call all the way at odd times, because there's a lot of time difference and all that, and within the schedules and all that. But he made sure that he contacts, because the person is depending on that. And that is what a Mahatma means. A great soul is one who comes down to our level to uplift us also in that state. And there are so many things, incidents I can go on, but that's what here the Yajnavalkya wants to go and contemplate on that truth, and he wants an environment conducive for contemplation. What is required is understanding and constant realization or recognition of that, and he himself teaches here, says Shrotavyaha. Shrotavya means listening to the teaching, and way Paramatmanji says is consistent, systematic teaching of prolonged length of time under a competent teacher is Shrotavya. And a competent teacher is one who himself studied consistently, systematically for a prolonged length of time under his competent teacher. So there is a Guru Parampara also. And Manana, reflecting on the teaching, that I have no more doubts now. It's crystal clear without any doubts. That should be there. And giving example is, when there is a live wire, and so somebody turn it off. Hey, is it live? It's a high voltage wire. So I think it's 99.99% there's no electricity. But there's a 0.001% probability that there may be current. Are you going to touch it? You cannot. I want to be 100% sure without any doubt that there is. Another Swami says, there's a milk, and say, There may be a drop of poison, but we are not sure. Are you going to drink? You won't drink. There may not be, but you want to make sure what you do is correct. And this is same true the Vedanta. There should not be any more doubt about Pramana, Prameya. In the coming, the Smriti, I written an article, Obstacles for Spiritual Growth. If you have time, don't skip this time the Smriti articles. There are articles, read that article that outlines what are the problems in the self-realization, where is the obstacle coming in. Major obstacle is lack of faith. Lack of faith in terms of pramana as well as the prameya. Prameya is object of knowledge also. So if you read it, you will know what I am talking about. But here, in order to make sure that there is no doubts, it says, Throtavyaha, Mantavyaha, you have to contemplate, discuss until there are no more doubts. So any doubt, any paper, anything comes, you should be able to answer crystal clearly from your point. Not necessarily satisfaction of the people who are asking the questions. They may understand, they may not understand, they may have their own opinion and, oh, I don't agree with you. That's okay. As far as you are concerned, it is clear. So, I know the story of Ramana Maharshi. Somebody went to Ramana Maharshi and said, so Bhagavan, I have a question. I want to know. And I asked this question to so many Swamis, so many people, and no one answered to me properly. So I came here. So he gave that introduction. And he was about to ask question. Bhagavan stopped right there. No need to ask question, because you also will not be satisfied with the answer. You can go and ask some other Swami. So people are asking, why did you say that? Let him listen to the question before. You didn't even listen to the question. He said, Bhagavan said, he loves his question and he is not going to give up that question. Whatever the answer is, he is not ready to give up the question. Therefore, there is no point in answering. If he has gone to so many Swamis and nobody answered, it means he is not going to give up the question itself. He loves his question. So there are a lot of people who want to ask just for asking sake. There are people who love to ask questions. Whether they want answer or not is not the point. They are allowed to ask questions. So what do? You just answer whatever you think is answer and leave it there. Because everybody has to answer the question from themselves, from what the information they have. A good seeker, of course, genuinely when they ask, when the answer is given, he thinks about it and he accepts or rejects depending upon his understanding. So the Srotavyaha, Mantavyaha, without any doubt, it has to be crystal clear knowledge itself. But that's not the end of it. Because there is still emotional attachments to the transactional world. Even though intellectually I understand the truth, yes, that is Tattvamasi, I understand, I am Brahman, I am a conscious entity, I am not inert entity, I am that conscious entity is Brahman, therefore I am Brahman, happiness comes from me only, there is no happiness outside. All that understood clearly, no doubt about it. Next day when somebody gives left and right, I get very angry and all that, and say, what happened to all the teaching here? But remember, getting angry is not the problem. You getting angry is not a problem. If anger gets you is the problem. That's what Gurudev used to tell. One has to be angry to solve a problem, otherwise the problem cannot be solved. If that is required. Sama, Dana, Veda, Dandam, they call it 4 aspects of it. But don't get carried away. With the love, you can get angry also. That's why I told you the Harrisburg story, where Swamiji blasted left and right because that's what the teaching they read. But after that, what is his behavior? He is not carrying that anger. People come and refer to him with the love and everything. He was taking affectionately to people. Because the teaching has to be teaching, where the snake has to be treated like a snake only, even though I know that I am the snake also. So transactionally, I have to be careful as it is required, but understanding cognitively, I should know the absolute truth that I pervade the whole thing through. So even though I understand it, that's called paroksha jnanam in the technically. It has to become, I am that Brahman, not that Brahman is happy, Brahman is Ananda. It's not, I am that Brahman means I cannot be unhappy any time because I am Ananda Swarupa. So if I am unhappy, then what does it mean? I am emotionally attached to it. That's a red signal. So in every transactions, I should be very careful, watch out myself. I am Brahman, make sure that this is correct understanding. Objectively, I may play the role, but understandingly one thing and transactionally the other thing. So therefore, srotavya, mantavya, nididhyasitavya. Nididhyasa means constant contemplation on that I am, that awareness, I am that sakshi in all this has to be maintained. And that is the teaching that goes, and we'll come back. Keep that teaching in mind as we go. We'll do one is Purnamada and Brahmarpanam also. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha.